When I drank, like I drank because I wanted to be like a man. Like I wanted to drink like a man. I wanted to be hard. Like, but the reality is that like I was so tremendously soft, and a lot of most of the men that I know are tremendously soft and sensitive as well. But like I just didn't know that at the time.
Hi, my name is Isabel Donnelly and welcome to The Sober Spill. Today I'm here with Lauren, who I am super excited to talk to. She's got a really cool book coming out, no longer Lost Causes Club. It'll actually be out by the time this is released, and I'm excited to like pre-order that and check it out for sure. Also, she facilitates the really popular meme page, Brutal Recovery, which is how I found her because I'm obsessed with BoJack Horseman as a form of self-punishment. And so I saw the profile picture and I was like, yeah, inner child work in like a really sad way. Yeah. So for the people who don't know who you are, who are you?
Oh, thank you so much for that introduction as well. Yeah. So my name is Lauren. I got sober the same year that BoJack Horseman. So did you? We got sober the same year BoJack Horseman got sober. So yeah, I've been sober for about 7 years. I am Scottish-born, London-based, but my recovery is American. I got sober in New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah, and I assume so. You were there from 2017 to 2020. Anytime anyone's European and in New Haven, I assume they're at Yale. Was this true?
It is true. This is like such.
Yeah.
I was doing a chair at Amin, and I shared share my story, and then I'm like, yeah, so I got sober in like Connecticut, and then there was an American person in the meeting, and he was like, he literally just shared back Yale, and I was like, yes. Yeah, I was in the School of Music.
And when I saw that, because I did like a lot of research on you, because there was and the more I did, the more I was like, oh my God, yeah, like using Sims as a form of distraction when I'm like losing it, 100p like in there. But the School of Music, that was for the treatment center I was in, that was like a hangout spot for the people there. Like I got a stick and poke tattoo in the bathroom of the Yale School of Music. So different experiences, same spot.
Those are great bathrooms. Those are, I will say, like, yep. Good choice.
Yeah, good acoustics. 100%. And so I also saw that something that premeditated your sobriety was a stint in the psych ward. I have done my time in a Yale psych ward. Were you there as well?
New Haven Hospital. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't do the psych ward there, but I did. I did end up in there as a result of my drinking. That I conveniently framed as food poisoning. For anyone who was not in the know. No, my psychiatric experience was in the UK. In the NHS, and that's the National Health Service, and it was. Yeah, it was, wonderful. Love the National Health Service so much, but their psychiatric units, they are, they're really stumped.
Yeah, I met 2 drug dealers I later utilized at the psych ward. I was like, this is a great networking. It's like LinkedIn for like debauchery. I'm like, this is great.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, and so when you were at the School of Music, you're performing opera.
Yeah. So this is kind of how it went for me. I was in Scotland. I'd absolutely destroyed my life there. Like everything was a mess, and I did a geographical. Basically, I was like, where can I go where I won't have problems? I know I can sing. I was in music school in Scotland, so I was like, I'm going to do a master's degree. And I was like, great, this is my big American dream. I'm gonna break out, and I ended up in Indiana. Went to Indiana University, and I was like trying to make it really cool. I was like, yeah, it's really near Chicago. Like it's like a stone's throw from Chicago. But yeah, I was trying to escape myself, and ended up in Indiana. I did a master's degree there. I did not do my best there. Like it was really, really, really difficult. I scraped through that degree by the skin of my teeth, but I got the attention of the Yale School of Music. Now the thing about the Yale School of Music is you get a full ride to go there. Like if you're in the music school, they got a grant so that they only take about 4 or 5 people a year of each instrument. And you get your tuition paid for you. So Yale School of Music was like, we really love your voice. We think you would suit our program. Would you like to come here? And I said, no, Like I'm so done with singing. I'm so done with life. Like I
And it's too far from
I
Chicago.
need to be really near Chicago at all times. And then I told a friend this, and he was like, "You're a moron. Like, do you know what Yale is?" And I was like, "Not really." Like, like it wasn't really in the cultural consciousness of me growing up. So yeah, he was like, "Just take that place." I was really circling the drain at this point. So I was like, fine, I guess I'll go to Yale. And so I moved to New Haven, and that's where I like crashed and burned, like really, really, really hard. In my first semester, I did this thing when I moved to America, because like in Scotland, like no one was charmed by my drinking anymore. Like I was just a drunk.
Mm.
Um, but in America, the USA in Indiana, really close to Chicago, it was like really charming. Like, oh, here's this Scottish woman. And I really like went into the stereotype. Like, yeah, like I'm Scottish, and that was really charming for 2 years. And then people are like, actually, this isn't fun anymore. And then by the time I got to New Haven, like it was like a 6 month period before people were like, "Are you okay?" Because this is
Mm.
not the sort of area where you can be like doing drugs without testing them. Like you can't do that here. You're being dangerous, which got my attention. And I reached my rock bottom, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, it's time. Like I'm done.
Yeah, you were probably there for, like, the mass overdose
Yeah,
on
I
the
was. Yeah.
green during that time too. Yeah, it's super. I remember walking to volunteer at the soup kitchen and just seeing people, like, dragged
Yeah.
away on tarps, and I had just gotten sober, and I've been getting high, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
thank God." Um It's super scary. And I love that you mentioned the people not being charmed by your drinking anymore, because I think that's such like a young woman who's an alcoholic or
Hmm.
drug addict experience where it's like, "Oh, you're so cute. Like, why are you doing this?" Or like with self-harm too, like, "You're
Yeah.
beautiful. Don't do
Quit
that to
for
yourself."
me.
And I'm like, "It's not
Yeah.
about that." Yeah, "Quit for me. Don't you love me?" And I'm like, "It's not what this is about." But yeah, when it stops being charming, it was like, "Oh, maybe I should get sober. No one's amused by this
Yeah,
anymore."
100%. Like, it's really funny because like I mean, it's Sarah Lynn as my profile picture, like because I just related to her like so much, and like um my relationship with her changed so much because at first, like I watched the BoJack Horseman, like the earlier seasons, like drunk, so I was like, oh my god, she's so great, she's so funny, she's living so free. She burned out rather than fade away. And then I watched it as a sober woman, and I was just like sobbing. And I was sobbing like at the time, but it's kind of like I'd resigned myself, like, oh yeah, but that's just me. Like I'm just meant to be this like, flamboyant, self-destructive, woman on the edge. And yeah, I might die, but like what are my options? Like my options are drink or kill yourself. Like what else can I do? Um and that's just why that's why that profile picture is my profile picture, because yeah.
And it's like in The View from the Halfway Down where she does like the "Don't Stop Dancing." I know, and I used to use that as like a form of self-punishment when I was doing like, because once I got sober, it's like I got sober, but I'm like, now I'm anorexic, like like different behaviors, phasing
Yeah.
in and out, and that was always like a constant for me. Um Oh my god, yeah, and the poem by Secretariat in that, like, what?
I want that on my body.
It's, like, really a part of
Like,
my
I
DNA.
need it tattooed on
Yeah,
me somewhere, like, maybe my ribs, because 'cause that'll really hurt. Like, I need it
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. No, I'm obsessed with that, and so I saw you found, classical music in childhood, which feels like a very
Oh, yeah.
melancholic child activity, like a really, like, eccentric, like, you're an old soul, and it's like, "No, I'm clinically depressed," kind of
Mhm.
thing. So how did you find that?
You have my number so hard. Like you just get me. Like
Yeah.
this is yeah. So my parents are farmers. Like we're tenant farmers, which is a style of farming in Scotland where you don't own the land, you like rent the land. I'm sure it exists in the USA as well. So we've just like every generation of my family has been that. And also being like Scottish, like there's this thing it's called like Scottish miserabilism. Like we just genuinely are quite a yearning, pessimistic, inwardly looking, outwardly alcoholic culture. So I was always affected by that. Like I love the traditional music of Scotland because it's always very plaintive. It's always very, very sad. Um, But by chance, I heard a recording of Maria Callas, and it was in the car, and I just said to my mum, like, I can do that. Like, I can do that. And mum was like, no, you can't. You can't do that. Like, that's opera, Lauren. Like, that's like, you have to learn how to do that. But I heard it as screaming. Like, I was like, oh, like, this is how I feel. Like, I feel the whole orchestra. I feel like these like deep waves of sadness, and the tension and the release and all of those things. Like, I deeply, deeply, deeply felt those. And yeah, it was such a solace for me. Like, I'm a really like I'm quite obsessive as a person. That should come as no surprise. So like, I remember when I realized that I liked opera, I went online and I googled, like, what are classical composers, and I wrote like a list of every classical composer that there was, and wrote out like their 5 most famous pieces. And then I went to YouTube, and then I YouTube converted all of those pieces into an MP3 and put it on my MP3 player. And then, like, this is like, I was maybe like 10, 11, and I was just like, I'd walk about all day just listening to this music and feeling so deeply. Like, I didn't understand it. Like, I didn't understand like I didn't understand like the gatekeeping and the elitism. Like, I didn't understand that till I like joined the industry. But I didn't understand what languages they were speaking. I didn't know what instruments were. Like, my school didn't even have an orchestra. We didn't have an orchestra. We didn't have a choir. We didn't have a drama department. Like, I was just like, seeking all of this out, like, just out of pure fascination and love. Yeah, because it was that, like, I don't know why this moves me, but it does. And it was that absolute melancholic, introspective sort of child that I was.
And that makes so much sense to me because you've described yourself as intense, and you've also talked about Wicked. And I found that, like, as being a very intense, sensitive child, that can be like a really special thing as an adult. And my fiance will laugh at me because I'll be listening to Defying Gravity in the car. And at like the end of the song, where it's just like the musical ensemble and it's like swelling and coming together, I'll start crying. So I'm like, it's so powerful. You don't understand. Like, and I'm freaking out about
Yeah,
it.
you get it. Like, you totally get. I still remember, like, as soon as you said Wicked, like, the hairs on my arm stood up, because you reminded me of my first experience of listening to Wicked, and it was on the CD. I played that CD till it burned out. And it was like, it was Defying Gravity, like, that the orchestral swell at the end, like the look at her, she's wicked, get her, bring me down. Like, that's the part where I'm just like, I just felt that. And like, it was it's like a manifestation of everything that I felt but didn't have words for. And I still get like that. I'm still like, I went to see Wicked in the cinema and had like really I had such an experience that people were like asking me if I was okay, and I was like, oh, I'm more than okay. Like, I am so okay right now. Like, this is me okay, because I'm feeling everything.
Yeah, I cried in the first like 2 minutes. Like, nothing's happened yet. It's like the opening scene, and I'm just like, this means so much to me. 100%. And I saw you wrote fanfic about Wicked, and so I'm wondering, were you like on AO3? Like, where was this being
Yeah.
Oh yeah, deep
Oh,
in the
yeah.
AO3 space.
That's where my imagination was born. Like, my kind of like addiction history goes like fantasy, food, alcohol, and drugs. Like, that's the, like, fantasy was like all I had. I when I was young, like, and it started like when whenever I was sad and young, like, I would imagine all of the boys at my school outside my window arguing with each other about who loved me the most. Like, that was just such a sad thing to admit, but like, I just lived in this fantasy land. So then when I was a voracious reader from a really young age, and when I found these like alternative worlds, and it started with Star Wars. It went on to various other like fantasy franchises. Wicked was a huge one. Yeah, just like realizing that I could use my imagination to write fan fiction and then share it with other people who felt what I felt. Like, I was just like, oh my God, there is more out there for me. Like, life doesn't have it in for me. Like, that was so important to me.
Yeah. And the pipeline, the AO3 to published author pipeline's pretty strong too. So you're really fulfilling the tradition.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. You're living up to your potential. And I saw you've also mentioned, like, being on
Mm.
Tumblr as a teenager, and you've mentioned it as a positive thing. Personally, I feel very victimized by Tumblr, um, but I was wondering if you had any of those experiences as
Yeah, I've
well.
got I really have to be careful because I have a lot of like euphoric recall about it where like it's delusional.
Totally.
Like because I remember the time like being on
Mm.
Tumblr where it felt like it was my job. Like it was all that like I cared about, and it was like so much fun. And being from the area I was in, like it was so rural, like it was really 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 rural, and like we didn't have a lot of money growing up either, so it was like it was pure fantasy that like I could be like these girls and I could like have these clothes, and I couldn't have that in my real life, but I could have that on my Tumblr. um and it was like, yeah, it
Mhm.
was, and realizing that there were other people out there like me, like I wasn't alone, like no one at my school knew what it was like to be like, headphones on, world off, like, but like I'd put that on Tumblr and everyone would be like, yeah. like, and there was like a really really terrible shadow side to that as well. Like I was really big in the pro-ana movement, if you could call it that. Like
Oh,
I would
yeah, I hear that, yeah.
I'm adolescent anorexic, and then I didn't get a handle on my bulimia until I was 2 years sober. Like that's
Mm.
one of the more vulnerable confessions about my recovery journey. Like I was, my bulimia was absolutely out of control in the first 2 years of my recovery. Um, so yeah, like whilst I have that like euphoric recall of like, oh my god, it's like I can express myself. Like it's so beautiful that I get to like be like feral and insane online when I can't be in my real life. Like that there also was like that. And even like, where it went with like MySpace, and uh we had Bebo in the UK, and I was also on like All Poetry. Like, there was loads of these different areas that like I inhabited so many online spaces. And those were the only spaces that I was comfortable. Which is really funny. So like I'm a
Mm.
meme account now. So like, the conditions of me like having a meme account are that I am thoroughly invested in my real life because I love to hide in internet spaces, It's always been my thing.
Totally. Yeah, because that's the same thing where I got on Tumblr when I was, like, 14, and it's the only place I feel like I othered myself to some extent, but I also always felt very other from a very young
Mhm.
age, and Tumblr was like, oh, it showed me all these ways people were, like, doing things to feel better, like, that's where I learned about self-harm, that's where I learned about eating disorders, and I was like, "Oh, that could work?
Yes.
Sick."
No, 100%.
100%.
Yeah. That I really relate to that.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it was and that's why I feel like Tumblr can be whenever I tell my story and there's anyone that's, like, my age-ish, I'm like, "Were you on Tumblr? Dark place?" "Yeah," like, a little bit.
Get it. They get
Um,
it.
but yeah, it's like a shared young woman experience, I
Mhm.
think. But I love that you brought up the being bulimic in sobriety because I think that's important when like, I know when I wasn't in the work when I was sober, like, at one point, I had a sponsor who relapsed, and I was like, "You know what? I've been through the steps. I could do it by myself." And I swiftly became, like, very anorexic, and it was this strange dichotomy of, like, being in the hospital a day before I was supposed to have 3 years sober and then
Mm.
being like, "You cannot stand up for more than 20 minutes at a time because your heart could stop," like, all of this
Yes.
stuff, and just being like, "You can be so
Yeah.
sick if not, like, more sick sober, because just we operate like kamikaze pilots without any sort of, like,
Yeah,
intervention.
it's so, so, so true. Like, yeah, it's like I for ages, right? Like, like you're only as sick as your secrets. And I was like, well, that's fine. I have no secrets. Like I'm such an oversharer. Like I'm always trauma dumping on people. Like that's my personality. But like it was kind of like the self delusion that was the problem. Like I was trying to keep secrets
Mm.
from myself. So we deceive ourselves before we deceive other people. And I was just like, I'm doing so great. Like, I'm doing so, so fine. Like, look at the service that I'm doing. Like, meanwhile, not revealing to myself, like, the reality of my own life. And, like,
Mhm.
that's it's really, really hard to mix. Like, I had this kind of maladaptive, this maladaptive character that I slipped into. Like I was like Little Miss 12 Step. Like I could like I could recite the book, and I could like do all this stuff, and I could really put myself together and like perform. And then, I was like panicking because I'd eaten something and I wasn't near a bathroom, like because I was in that like deceiving myself area. And it was one of the most vulnerable things to like just admit to myself that I was like, you're not just, purging on occasion. Like you are in the depths of the like, and to me, like my eating disorder is a dimension of my addiction. Like it has the same root. Yeah,
100%.
it's it's the same hole in the soul. Like, it's got the same, it's got a different voice, but it's the same head, I suppose, is a way of putting it. But like it's and it was really, really, really humbling to admit that, because like, I thought I could delude myself to the end of my days and just like keep that part for me. Like, it's like smoking. Like I've quit smoking now as well, but like, the cigarettes for me was like, and I don't think cigarettes are a moral issue, but like I had to quit smoking. And I was like, the cigarette was just like, this is the only 5 minutes of my day that's for me. Like this is my moment, and no, I don't have to be useful to anyone right now. I don't have to be good right now. I'm going to be bad. And in some ways like that was my bulimia, but the bulimia was definitely killing me quicker. So I had to really get a handle on that.
Yeah, and that's with cigarettes, getting to like put my headphones in. I'm like listening to Phoebe Bridgers. Maybe it's like raining a little bit. I'm smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, you don't know me. You know me. You don't know my story. Like.
Oh my God, 100%. Yeah, no, I feel that, just like painting my music video picture, like.
Because I feel like it's also hard, like getting sober. Because I know you got sober at 25. First time you tried to get sober was 19, and it's like coming from that like troubled teen, or like really just emotionally unwell, like being a teenager. It's hard to not carry pieces of that into adulthood. Like I find there's still some pieces that I feel like comfort in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Like I had a really quick progression. Like I like at 19, like that's when I was hospitalized for alcohol induced psychosis. Like that's, and at the time I was just like, whatever, like like I saw it as kind of like the same as getting your stomach pumped. Like it was like that, like undramatic. And then someone said to me like, Lauren, like getting your stomach pumped is quite dramatic. And I was like, well, I did that last week. I'm fine. Like, like it just, I had no perception of like what was a big deal. But yeah, so anyway, like really, really, really quick progression. And I had made my mental issues part of my personality as well. Like I performed them.
Yeah.
Like it's a Tumblr thing, right? Like Tumblr was a way of making my mental illness like aesthetic, like, and beautiful. And there's opera as well. Like that was my opera career for a while. Like I even before, like I was like a memer officially, like I was on MySpace and Facebook, like, doing dispatches of my night. Like, oh my God, I'm so glamorous and fabulous and tragic. And, that was my, that was my bit. Like that was all I knew about myself. And it was so adolescent. Like it really was like me as an adolescent. Like it's so funny when there was that meme trend, like I'm just a 30-year-old teenager, and like I want to be a 30-year-old teenager, but for like the good of my mental health, like I can't be a 30-year-old teenager because I've been a teenager in my 20s and it was devastating. Like it was so bad.
Oh my God. Yeah, and that's like I got sober when I was 19, and so I was still like, and you've talked about also, I've seen, I think on your Substack, like being feral in your first 2 years of sobriety. And oh my God, yeah, like still, like I was going to meetings to find a husband, like that kind of thing in the beginning, where I was like, look, I've got a crop top on. You interested? Like 100%. All the time.
But no, seriously, I was 2.5 years sober when I was doing this, and I would not suggest doing this, but I would go to meetings in like posh areas of London because I was like, that's where they're going to have money. Like that's, but then they didn't. Everyone was playing the same game. Like I don't know where I did not find a husband that way, but I did find some very interesting dynamics, shall we say? Yeah, like no, totally. Like that was and as well for me, like I, for a very long time, only felt comfortable operating within the rooms. Like that was because I was so maladapted outside. Like I kind of just thought like I'm my only social connections are going to be in the rooms and in uni. Like those are in at Yale. Like those are going to be my two social circles. Like I can't break outside of that. Like only sober alcoholics are going to understand me. Like I can't have any other friends because they're never going to get me. And like that was from a place of like my teenage self as well, because like as you said, like I othered myself as a teenager. Like I'm so different, I'm so edgy, like nobody likes me, I'm like blah blah blah. There was truth in that. Like I was a very bullied child, so like there was like, you know, the kernel of truth, but then a lot of it was just like my, you know, projections onto it. So yeah, like that was like another one of my like kind of teenage things where I was like, I'm going to do my dating, I'm going to do my friendships like in meetings. And I really tried, man. I really, really tried. Would not suggest it. It can work beautifully. It did not work for me. But yeah, like that about 3 years sober, that's when I got a bit braver. And I was like, I'm going to make friends with the casuals, with the civilians.
Oh, the normies. Yeah. Yeah, the people with regular brain chemistry. Like, I'll let you in. You don't have to know my mood stabilizer regimen. That's fine.
Hi, everyone. Pat McCarthy here. Mountainside's Bespoke Recovery offers the highest level of luxury addiction treatment with a focus on your privacy and schedule. You'll receive intense one-on-one therapies from our expert team, enjoy exclusive amenities and concierge service, allowing you to seamlessly integrate healing into your life's commitments. Find out more at mountainside.com.
So, like, female friendship is something I like to talk about with people when I have them on the podcast, because that's something that I think it's pretty common for young women in early recovery to be like, I don't get along with women. Like, men just understand me better. And it's like, no, women just see you. And that's uncomfortable. And some, like, my female relationships are the things that light up my life, because they're the people that, like, they understand. I don't know, they understand and love me unconditionally, and they understand like my internal experience and like who I am, and kind of like, I don't know, they can empathize with me in a way that I was never able to empathize with myself. And so it helps me get there. What was your experience like beginning to let people in like
Very
that?
similar. I didn't realize how much God, I've got so much to say on this. Like, I didn't realize how much I hated being a woman. Like, I really, really, really didn't realize like how I kind of just like when I drank, like I drank because I wanted to be like a man. Like I wanted to drink like a man. I wanted it to be hard. Like, but the reality is that like I was so tremendously soft, and a lot of most of the men that I know are tremendously soft and sensitive as well. But like I just didn't know that at the time. But yeah, like, and I saw my femininity and like the very fact that I'm a female as the soft part of myself that I despised. So I was really judgmental and hateful of women, and also a big part of it, just because we've done eating disorder chat, like you know, eating disorders are competitive. I couldn't be friends with someone that was thinner than me, and I didn't want to be friends with anyone that was bigger than me. Like, that's probably the most like psychotic thing that I've ever admitted, but like that's where I was. Like, that was my mentality at the time. Like, the competitiveness of my eating disorder just meant that like every woman was a body to me. And
oh yeah, and plate checking galore.
She gets it. Like, yeah. As soon as I said that, I was like, oh my God, is that too far? Like, did I say something like too far? No, if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, I probably just sound really mean. But like, no, but like that's how I felt. Like, and I just had, I was friends largely with gay men and men that I had sex with periodically. Like, that was my friendship group. And you know, I think there's like words for it now, like a pick me or something like that, or like I'm not like other girls. Like, yeah, that was probably me too. Like, I was like, yeah, I'm not like other girls. I drink like a man. So, you know, even just the concept of like having a female sponsor, and that brings up like the mother wound and all of that stuff. And then my sponsor, God bless her, was like, I'm not your mom. And I was like, got it. She said, "Guy, this is where I'm just going to put that right out there. Like, you know, I'm not going to mother you. Like, that's like, I can be mothering. Like, I can, you know, I'm going to be compassionate and supportive, but like the mummy issues, like that's another thing, because I kind of like secretly was looking for a mother, and I think she clocked that. But I also was like, didn't want to be known by a single woman because I was so scared of being rejected. I was so scared of like, that my childhood bullies were gonna, come back and all of that stuff. So, but I will say that I made my first friend in recovery when I was about, I'd say it was about a year. Like I had fellows like that I kept at like a very healthy, like, arm's length. And it was, oh God bless them, because they were so loving to me. Like when I left New Haven and the women in my home group put on like a goodbye party for me, like the love that, and it was a women's main was my home group. And I just, in that moment, like saw how loved I was. And I was just like, oh my God, like it was here all along, and I've only appreciated this for like such a short amount of time because I was so scared of being loved and known by these women. I'd say my first like major friend in recovery was like a woman in her 60s. Like I just thought that she was so cool.
Sounds right.
She lived such a life, and I was like, "You're amazing." And then I met like someone my own age who I became very good friends with. And that was the friendship that sustained me through the first 6 months of lockdown before I had to move back to the UK. Like the friendship that we'd built prior meant that, when lockdown happened, we were like, okay, we've got each other. And since then, I've made friends with casuals and civilians. And, I remember I had it was a girlfriend of a friend, and I was reading a book, and she came up to me and she was like, "Oh, are you enjoying that?" And I was like, I don't know. Like I was so scared. I was like, I need to say something smart. I need to say something interesting. I need to impress her, because if I don't say something impressive, she's going to think that I'm stupid. She's going to think that I'm like not worthy of friendship. She's going to look down on me. And then eventually, after overthinking it for like 5 seconds, I was like, yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I think it's really good. And then she was like my first, this was about 4 years sober perhaps. And she was honestly like, I'm a slow burn. Like, so that was like the first friend that like was like the first close, intimate friend outside of the rooms. I had like, colleagues and people I worked with, but she was one of the first people that like I got like emotionally intimate with, where I was like, oh, I'm not that different from you. Like, we're actually not a different species. Like, and she was so like, and since then, like yourself, like I've come to value that like female friendship is a mirror to me, and I just was so disgusted by that reflection for a very long time, and now it's something that is so comfortable and so loving, and the women in my life give me a support that I can't get from anywhere else. I can't get it from my family. I can't get it from my boyfriend. I can't get it from myself. Like I need to get it from my female friendships with these incredible women.
Yeah, and I saw in your Substack, you talked about wanting to hug like a young version of one of your friends. And that's the only time I've ever seen anyone else express that. Because I feel the need to like, I wish I could parent like some of my very close friends' inner children, like, and love them and like take care of them and let them know they're enough and that they're not like that. Like, I have such a distinct urge to do that. And so it's the first time I ever saw anyone else like directly say something similar, which I really, really appreciated. And I love what you're talking about with like reading and feeling like I have to prove something. Because I know I read like culturally significant books for the sake of being like, I'm interesting and I know things. Do you want to talk about stuff? I can. I'll tell you about it. I've recited it.
Do you ever read, like, so sometimes I was reading Mark Fisher, the philosopher Mark Fisher, but like I was reading it as if someone was going to stop me in the street and say like, what are the 3 main tenets of Mark Fisher's philosophy? Like, and I was like not like enjoying it because I was like, I've got to really understand this and I've got to have to say smart things about it. And I was like, no, actually you could just read this and like understand it where you're at.
Yeah, that's like I was reading Grendel. Like I don't know if you've ever read that, but it's like from the perspective of Grendel and Beowulf. And I was like going through and highlighting. I'm like, this chapter is on existentialism, and then the next story is on nihilism, and that's why this, and this. And I'm like, who cares? I'm not doing a report on this. Like I'm just reading it and enjoying it, and that's okay. Like that's 100%. Enough.
Like I still think that I'm going to be asked to do like an essay on it in the end, and there'll be a grade. Like. Just not again teenager. Yeah. Like I'm still in that teenage space.
Yeah, big time. And I saw, so you posted about how, which I loved, and this is just once again as I went through like more and more of like your page or your Substack and everything, where I was like, yeah, anime as a mechanism for acceptance Like I went through it was when I was really severe in my eating disorder. I'm like, this is something to keep me company. And I got like really big into anime and went through all of that. So I'm wondering if you could speak more on that. And also like, what are your top three and like what purpose have they served for you? I know that's like a loaded
No,
question.
this is like I've done quite a few like interviews and stuff in like the press tour.
Yeah.
That's the only question I want people to ask me, and no one's asked it. So like you are my you're my hero right now. For me, so when I watched Hunter x Hunter with my boyfriend, right? And in the first, I mean, I wrote like a 7,000 word Substack on this, but like in the first episode, we're met with this like really idealistic kid. And he's like, he wants to do the right thing, and he's got like, ambitions and dreams. And spoiler alert for anyone that's not watched it, I said, oh, it's going to be so tragic when he breaks. And my boyfriend just kind of looked at me like, why do you say that? And I was like, oh, he's obviously going to break, like, because nobody gets through life like keeping that. And then like it's obvious that like, that's the core part of his personality. So when he breaks, that's going to be really tragic. And then so 140 episodes later, like it's been building up to when he breaks. And then my boyfriend was just like, it was so hard for me to not say at that moment, like when we started watching it, like, how did you know? And I was like, oh, I just know, because that's me. Like I was this, idealistic, ambitious, dreamy child that got broken by the world. And I actually have like the moment like tattooed on my arm, like the panel from the manga.
So my fiance has a Gon tattooed on his arm. And also it feels very fitting that not only did he break, but then his like eternal friendship with Killua is what gets him saved. And I'm like,
yes. No, 100%. Because like when he breaks and says, I don't care what happens to me now, that's addiction to me. That's addiction to me in a nutshell. Like I don't care what happens to me now. I don't care about the cost. And yes, so when Killua comes along, like you can't do it alone. No one goes along. And oh my god, I'm gonna come down because like I just get so frothy talking about this. But yeah, like it was. So that was what like spiked my interest. And then I realized that like the more that I watched, I was like, these are the things that I care about. Like because I don't enjoy like things where the big terrible thing doesn't happen, because I live my life thinking, when is the big terrible thing going to happen? So living in the anime universe when like the big terrible thing is always happening, I'm just like, oh, this is actually quite soothing, because what comes against the big terrible thing? Friendship, mentorship, like there's the realities of like anime parents are really terrible parents, and the kids always like work it out with like whether it's a teacher or whether it's friendship. I love how dramatic it is. Like, you don't just fall over, you get blasted through a wall. And because that's how I feel at all times. So I just love that universe. I know you said top 3. Can I do top 5? I'm so sorry, I can't just limit it to
just go ahead. No, let it rip.
So
I'm here for it,
because I love shonen, I love slice of life, and I love shoujo. So I feel like I want to represent all of those things. So my favorite anime of all time is Hunter x Hunter. Like I do think that it's a masterpiece. I know that people say there's pacing issues, and they are wrong. Like that's an incorrect opinion. Like, and they need to grow up and do it again. I really love Bungo Stray Dogs because it's quite, I don't know, I feel like it's quite girly. It's silly, but also like beautiful.
Yeah.
Like there's just really beautiful moments in it. Like when Dazai says like, pity yourself and your life becomes an endless nightmare. Like I just feel like that's a really important message. So there's Fruits Basket. It's so like,
oh my god, that's a comfort watch for me. That's
the moment when I can't remember the names, but when the cow spirit carries the horse, and he's like, you are never a burden to me. I sent that to my boyfriend like in tears, and I was like, this is what you're like for me. Such an emotional moment with that. What else is there? There is I really, really, really love Fire Force. I think Fire Force is really beautiful because I think that firefighters are the ultimate display of love. Like they are running into burning buildings on the behalf of someone that is not, on behalf of a stranger. I could cry at the thought of that. And the firehouse near my house is on top of it, they have love is the running towards. So I just feel that like that got me so emotional. So when I started watching Fire Force, I was just like, like it's so much. And my final favorite is Mr. Villain's Day Off. It's a slice of life, and it's literally just Mr. Villain having a day off and going to the zoo and seeing the pandas. I've watched it about 4 times because it just like medicates my brain.
Yeah, and that's so I think you'll like this, but this isn't the Tokyo Ghoul anime doesn't reflect this, but the manga does, where it's like the greatest show of inner child work. And it was something that because he kills his inner child. Like he's like literally like like kill, and I was like, yes. And then I did IFS therapy and now I'm like, no. But at the time I was like, this is it,
No,
baby.
the manga, I believe,
Yeah.
is a masterpiece. Like I was trying to describe this to a friend who she's reading One Piece right now because she's trying to connect with her nephew, and she was like, "What else should I read?" And I was like, "Read, do not watch Tokyo Ghoul," like because I think the manga is a masterpiece.
Yeah, dude. Hold up. Or it's like the inner child piece, like double down, maybe. Like that's
I just feel like we should be friends. Like
I know.
I feel like I'm making a friend.
Oh yeah. When I was going through all of this and I was like, oh wow, like going through everything that you wrote. Especially because yeah, with The Sims as a coping mechanism, that always feels very shameful to me when I'm doing it. But sometimes it's like my life is really good, and so I need a little bit of chaos. So I'm like, okay, now they're all vampires, and something's gonna happen. That's bad.
that supernatural expansion pack really changed the game for me. Oh,
Oh, big time. So much nuance.
absolutely. I've like every single family that I make, I always make like a different, whether it's a werewolf, vampire, witch, or a fairy, I always make a different one, the leader of the free world, and like the top of the politics career, and then model the world on that. That's my world building.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, whatever you have to do. And my fiance will be like, why are you stressed out? I'm like, he's a vampire, but he's also pursuing a biology career and like a degree. And then he's going to be a marine biologist, but he can't go in the sun. So
He's
what
got
are we
a
going to
lot
do?
going
And he
on
was
right
like, "What are we
now. Like that's really stressful.
Yeah, you don't understand. He's busy. Can you imagine?" And he's like, "No, I can't." But so how did you segue like your background in singing into? Because I know you have trauma-informed singing classes now. Like, what does that look like, and how did that come to fruition?
Oh God! So I it was in the pedagogy aspects of my master's. So I wrote a paper on this was in 2015. So Body Keeps the Score had just been published. Changed the game. Changed the game. And even like at uni at that time, like my tutor was like, I was really struggling academically. So he was like, you could do an easy one, like you could do caffeine's effect on the voice or sleep's effect on the voice. And I was like, no, I'm going to do trauma's effect on the voice. And he was like, are you sure? Like that's going to be a lot. But I kind of like wrote that as like a member of the press. Like I didn't realize at the time that I was like profoundly traumatized. Like I was still drinking. So like, I was like numbing it. And then I lost my voice, and then I had to like concede to the fact that like I was profoundly traumatized, and I was not sober at this time. Like a lot of this work actually just started to alchemize properly when after I got sober, but I still I put a shift in of like doing some of that trauma work and getting my voice back. So realized after writing like at the time, like there were very few papers on the trauma's effect on the voice. Like it was really difficult to find things to cite because there just wasn't stuff written about it. That's very different now. There's a lot more material out there, and lots of like somatic vocal coaches, central nervous system vocal coaches, all of that stuff. Like it's an erupting industry. So I had to use what I wrote in the paper, which was how to navigate the symptoms of trauma in a singing lesson on myself. And then when I got my pedagogy qualifications and I got a job teaching second study voice at Yale, I wasn't like saying, like, come to me, all traumatized singers, I'll heal you. But, I was teaching undergraduates that were hanging on by a thread. Like they were so stressed and so anxious. And I kind of implemented some of those things on my more sensitive students, and then they would disclose to me things that they had been through or went through. And I couldn't really go all in then because they had to pass exams, but I changed my teaching style in that time to be a bit more compassionate and a bit less old school. And then, as my sobriety progressed, as my research progressed, I was like, I'm just going to make this a thing. I'm going to, rather than teach voice to be good, teach you to have a good voice, I'm going to teach in a way where the voice can be a self-experience, where you can experience yourself connected, where you can express yourself from that experience, and when you can soothe yourself. Because when you're in touch with your voice in that way, the vibrations are deeply soothing. It changes you in a really particular way. So and then when I stopped performing maybe about 3 years ago and pivoted to teaching, because I just found that more fulfilling, working people one-on-one in that way.
Yeah, that sounds, because there's so much value, and this is also Body Keeps the Score, taught me a lot about this, is the somatic value. And also you have a book coming out. Do you want to share a little bit about that? Like I said, I'm super excited about that.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited about it because it's basically the book that I wanted to reach when I got sober. Because I was someone who thought that I was too far gone, but not bad enough. I was, 25 years old. I should be drinking and ruining my life. But also I'm so beyond repair and beyond redemption that. And also, what's the point in getting sober? The world's on fire. Everything's terrible. I thought sobriety was for older people that needed to get their life back together, get on the path. But I'd never been on the path, and I hadn't lost anything because I'd never gained anything. It was, just in this really hopeless place. And I felt that the quit lit that I'd read, whilst it's not bad, I didn't see myself in it. I felt that it would talk about the positive benefits of sobriety, but in my early recovery, I did not feel those. I did not get a pink cloud.
No, it's worse.
Yeah, I got worse before I got better. And so I wanted to write something that quite fearlessly spoke about the realities of an early recovery experience, not to deter anyone from recovery, but to just say, hey, if you feel this, you are not failing. Something is probably just catching up with you. You're feeling some growing pains. Keep going. It's going to be okay. So, I share parts memoir of my experience, and just some of the helpful things that I've heard over the years, all around dating, escapism, sex, grief, senses, feelings, all the good stuff.
Oh, all the fun stuff. And I think that's helpful because they don't talk about that a lot in recovery. And that's whenever I speak, I make a point of being if you're a real alcoholic, a lot of times it gets worse before it gets 100%. Better. I did not feel relief. I desperately wanted relief.
No, that was totally my experience too. And it's what I say in the book as well, because of the experience that I described, I was if you've had an eating disorder, get ready for that to come back. If you've engaged with self-injury, get ready to feel those urges again. You will it will be hard, but it's okay because you're not the only one. Because I was so ashamed of myself for so long because I was why am I still so imperfect? Why am I still so broken? And I'm you're not broken. You just got a wee bit more work to do. It's okay. You're always going to be a work in progress. You're human.
Yeah, we're always evolving. It's never, I'm so glad I didn't settle for the person I was at 1 year sober because she still sucked. Let's be real,
Oh, same. And I thought 2 years sober, I thought I knew everything. I thought that I was wow, I did it, guys. And then it's just progressively, I feel the further you go, you just realize how little you know, and it's so beautiful. It's so good.
Yeah. Looking through the eyes of a child. But we could go on forever, and we can't go on forever, unfortunately. But thank you so much for coming on. This has been a true delight. I have so many niche interests I don't have, I can't talk about to other people about. So this has been phenomenal for me.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I really, this is the sort of thing that I love doing because it is those particulars. I can do a really, down the middle of the roads, whistle stop tour of everything, but it's these corners that we go into, those, that's what's interesting to me. So I'm so happy you brought them to the table.
Yeah, of course. And so everybody go check out No Longer Lost Causes Club. It'll be out by the time this comes out. And yeah, if you want to find Lauren, also you can find her at Brutal Recovery on Instagram. Best memes. All my friends are sending them out to me all the time. And I was like, who is this? And now we're here. Now I know. All right, sweet. Thank you.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, Mountainside can help. Call 860-365-6764 to speak with our caring treatment team.